welcome once again to another episode of Bill Has Opinions, and this episode is going to be epic. I am Laura Lavoie, and I'm joined, of course, by Bill Perkins, who has opinions.
Hi-yo. How you doing?
How are you doing?
I'm good. It's been an interesting week, but it's been good. Not interesting in a bad way. I don't know. Nothing bad's happened. I'm trying to think of anything like newsworthy. Oh, my wife got a new pet.
Oh.
That I couldn't talk her out of.
Oh, what is the new pet?
Sugar gliders.
Oh my goodness, sugar gliders.
Yes. They're like...
More than one?
Yeah, she got a pair of them.
Oh, Lord.
Australian squirrels, basically.
Yeah. No, they had a big surge of popularity about 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Like everybody had a sugar glider.
Ah.
We had friends with sugar gliders. They're crazy little creatures.
They're pretty cute. I mean, they're tiny and they have stripes on their head like a badger, and then they've got beady eyes like other
like
cute.
A lemur.
Yeah. So they're kind of like a combination of all the cute, like they're like a Pokemon is what they're like. They're a Pokemon. They technically are Pokemon because they can fit in your pocket. So they technically are pocket monsters.
That's true. That's true.
So there.
So my former boss, her daughter used to, because I was working in Georgia, her daughter lived in Texas at the time and had a sugar glider. She actually flew to Atlanta once from Dallas, wherever she lived, with the sugar glider in her bra.
Mm-hmm.
And like they didn't get it in the
scan.
And it was before like the big scan.
Yeah, well,
it was before that.
Yeah, well, because I mean the sugar glider's not made of metal, so it wouldn't set anything off.
Yeah, but the scanner, the other scanner, the scatter scanner, the one that you do the scatter where you walk in. Have you ever been through those? I swear you've been.
I don't know, man.
You walk in and it's like a big thingy that goes around you.
I've flown once since 9/11.
All right, fair enough. The scatter machines, they detect like heat and all kinds of stuff.
Okay.
So you see your whole...
Oh, they'd be like, so what are you trying to... They'd be like, oh, you're smoking an exotic animal.
They would definitely see it.
Gotcha.
They would definitely see it.
But no, apparently that's a thing they like sitting in your pocket, or like they have special scarves with a pocket in them that you can they hang it right here in your neck or something. I don't know. Anyway, they're cute, but ultimately, we've had a lot of different kinds of crazy pets in my life. So I'm always kind of like, all right, well, whatever,
Well, we're doing this thing now.
This is the thing we're doing. I can't talk you out of it, I reckon. Whatever,
Probably not.
So yeah, but then we got a lot of stuff done on the house last week, so I'm kind of feeling good about that.
That's good. I saw the treehouse room. That's super cute.
Yeah. We're almost the interior of the house is almost 100% now, and then I've got a couple of projects outside that need to be done, but it's getting there, so I'm feeling good.
All right.
Yeah. So and Emily's got insurance now at the restaurant, so that's nice also.
That is also good. That is
an
excellent thing.
Everything's coming up, pretty nice. And I went to my first concert post.
Yeah, you went right up over here, right?
I went to the Moog store the other day. That was great.
That's
it's kind of taking me a minute to remember all the good things that happened last week. Yeah, live music is a thing again. That's nice. Patronize your local live bands.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is funny. I was reading this thing after I went to that show. That show was packed, by the way. It was a free show at the Moog store, but it was in the middle of the afternoon, which is kind of a weird time. Asheville's notoriously late risers. If you go to breakfast before 10 in Asheville, you're in and out, and you're the only person in the place.
Right.
So I thought, okay, if I go to a store during the daytime to see a show, I'm going to be one of 12 people there. It was frankly packed. Okay, there were a good 50 or 60 people in this retail space,
right,
to watch a band in the corner of a retail space. And then I got home and I read this post from the lead singer of the Dead Milkmen, and he had, I guess, played a live show on Friday night, and he had posted this thing. He's like, "Hey people, I had several people come up and tell me how good my set was. I didn't really think it was good." He says, "What I take away from this is people are clamoring for live music right now."
Mm-hmm.
He says, if you are thinking about doing a musical project, get it out in front of people now, because no matter how lousy it is, they won't care. And I hilarious. And I was like, yeah, there's probably some truth to that, but on the other, I definitely think people are thirsty for live entertainment. However, I don't think that means that like their standards are, well, maybe they're a little lower, but not tons low.
Right. But we just want to be out and be social.
We do.
We did yesterday. We went to Asheville Drag Brunch.
And I saw your videos of that, and it looked hilarious.
It was super fun. It was a good time. First of all, you get brunch, and second of all, you get drinks, and then third of all, there are drag queens performing. So it was super fun.
That's awesome.
I would do it anytime. It was very much fun.
So who was your favorite? I'm sorry.
Manhattan.
So
yes.
What did she perform? What did she sing?
Well, she did Vogue by Madonna,
Okay.
and then I can't remember what her second performance was. To be honest, It was good though.
Okay.
I had a video of it, so I could go back and look.
You can go back and review.
I don't remember what it was, but her costumes were great. Her dancing was great. She did, all the kicks and splits and dead drops and things you're supposed to do.
Okay.
And it's a relatively small. It's like a dive bar. It doesn't even have a stage.
So it's just like out and about and amongst you.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it was pretty cool. It was pretty fun.
That sounds crazy, but yeah.
So, but we should probably get on with the show.
I guess so. We've chatted enough about our random bullshit.
Random stuff. What are you drinking? It looks like you need it.
Yeah. I'll tell you what I was drinking, then I'll tell you what I'm about to drink. I started off pre-gamed with the Shiner Bock Ruby Redbird, which is actually it's a grapefruit and ginger flavored beer. It actually tastes like somebody mixed grapefruit juice and ginger ale. You don't even taste the beer in it.
All right.
It's
not a bad drink.
It says it's only 95 calories also.
Oh, nice.
I'll tell you this. One of them won't do much for you, but if you drink like 3 of them, it sneaks up on you, and then you're suddenly drunk, and you're like, wow. It's because you don't taste any alcohol in it. It's surprisingly just like a very light, refreshing, summery beer. Then I drank this New Belgian Mountain Time, which only comes in a mixed 12-pack, but it's a premium lager. It says, and it's the most beer flavored beer that New Belgium has ever made.
Yeah, but it's good. It's good
but I
stuff.
like it, nice and light and airy.
And what you're about to drink is what I'm currently drinking,
which is the New Belgium Summer Bliss, which is a tropical wheat. And I had this a couple weeks ago. I think I might have mentioned.
Yeah, you brought it.
I brought it to her,
me.
and I didn't think I liked it. But I bought another 12-pack because this is a mixed 12-pack. It comes with the lager I just had, and it comes with this, and it also has the watermelon, which I'll bring you some more of because I don't like it. But it has this 1985.
And it has this, which is my next drink. It was one of my favorite beers from last year. I should have drank it the other day with our 80s episode.
And it's surprisingly one of the IPAs I actually will drink and enjoy.
It's super good and tropical.
It's really good. But anyway, so I had over the weekend, I had a couple of these Summer Blisses because they were in the fridge. And I felt like that when I drank it the other week, I didn't like it. But then this time I drank it, and I mostly tasted like coconut. And I was like, hey, you know what? I do like that because I like coconut. So anyway, if you like a beer that tastes like it's got a hint of suntan oil in it, then that's probably the beer for you.
That's the beer for you. But yes, I know I like that beer a lot. And so I've got the 1985, but then you had this last week, I think, and you brought it for me. So I'm going to drink the Fontana.
Which is the Paloma style.
Yes, Paloma style. So I think I'll go with that last. It's hard when you're balancing different styles of beer. It's hard to know exactly what order because I've got a wheat, and then I've got a sour, and then I've got an IPA. So, but I'll figure it out.
I think I do the IPA next and then finish with the sour.
I think I am going to do that
because usually a sour once you drink a sour, like you can't flip back to something.
And hops usually destroys your taste buds too. But this is a really mild IPA.
It's very balanced. So
very balanced.
Anyway.
All right, so let's get on with the actual show.
Right.
Which is not about any of those things. Yes, because this show is about mythology. And specifically ancient mythology. So we're not talking about like current modern day. I mean, we might talk about interpretations and things, but ancient mythology is a pretty much like your Greek, Roman, Egyptian, maybe some Norse in there, but that's kind of what we're talking about.
Right. No Teutonic. No.
I mean, if you're really, really...
We're going to mention it for a minute. Only because I'm going to talk about the influence of mythology on everyday life.
And
that's where the Teutonic comes into play.
I see. Well,
right?
Yes? Well, yes, because yes, we're gonna.
Yes,
talk about
because
that.
yes.
Yes, because yes.
Okay, well, let's just talk
That's
about.
gonna be
Let's just roll right into that. That's gonna be my monologue. Let's say that's my monologue.
All right, what's your monologue there, Bill?
That people who think mythology doesn't have any bearing on you, you don't know how much it does. Because
It's true.
you've got your months of the year.
Right, which are all Romanish.
Romanish,
Yeah.
yes, exactly. And your days of the week, which actually are half and half, is really actually. Sorry, no, they're a little this and a little that.
They really are.
So you got Sunday and Monday, which is just sun and moon. Which I guess that could be the sun and moon from any religion, right? You could just pick, like, you could call Sunday Ra Day if you wanted to, right?
If you want to.
You could say Ra Ra Ra, it's Sunday.
Ah!
You know?
Yeah,
And
that's low hanging fruit.
It
right
sure
there.
is. Low hanging fruit, like the fruit that that tempted
Tantalus?
Tantalus, exactly.
Because mythology.
Because yes, but anyway, so after Sunday and Moon Day, you got Tuesday, which is after a Teutonic god, right? Like
Tyr.
Is it okay?
Yes.
I can't remember exactly how it, and entomologized or whatever. Like it evolved.
Yes.
Because it was pronounced this and that's that.
Right, and obviously we've changed the.
Right, and then you switch, and it's Norse for a minute, right?
Well, Tyr is Norse.
Oh, he's Norse.
Yeah, he's Norse too.
Oh, okay. I thought there was a Teutonic god, like in the.
Well, Norse and Teutonic are interchangeable.
Oh, but I'm talking like like a Celtic god.
Yes.
I thought there was one just called Tew or something like that.
I mean, there is, but that's not what it's named
That's
after.
not okay. So I misunderstood that. Very well. So then we got Odin for Wednesday.
Right.
We've got Thor for Thursday.
Right.
And then Frigga for Friday.
Right.
And then when we get to Saturday,
then we move to the Romans.
Because
for no reason.
Why the fuck not? Like for one day, we're just gonna. Hey, let's just do Romans this day.
Just one.
Like we couldn't have, like, it's too bad we don't have a Loki day, right?
Oh God.
Because Saturday is kind of a low key day if you think about it.
Mm.
Because you don't have to do it.
Because it's really low key. What?
And sometimes you get into mischief.
And then you feel the consequences of that real quick.
Right. So there.
Then you're hungover in the afternoon.
You know what? People should petition to have Saturday changed to Loki Day.
That's fair, but I think if we're going to do that, if we're going to change the one Roman day, we should also address Sunday and Monday.
We should. That's also weird.
Yeah. We could do something else.
Speaking of weird, is it weird? It's a sort of a the word weird comes from a mythological concept or something like that.
Yeah, it's a WYRD.
Right.
I believe it's either like Gaulish Celtic or it's Norse.
Right. So when something's weird, it's because there's some like supernatural influence on something that's making things weird. So anyway, haha, there's that.
Wait. No, we can't play it yet. We gotta save it.
Sorry,
we gotta
but
save
then,
it.
I wanted to talk about. There was one other thing. Oh, also the fucking planets, man.
Oh yeah, absolutely. All the planets are.
The planets,
except for Earth.
Except for Earth, which we didn't name after any.
Well, I think at that point we named Earth long before we named any of the other planets.
Where do we come up with that? Because that seems weird. It seems like a weird name for a planet that's mostly water to call it Earth. Like, why did we name it water?
Well, I think if you're going to go, because most of the other names are Roman. Right? So I think whatever the Roman equivalent of Gaia is would be the logical choice.
Sure. Speaking of Gaia, we have a parrot named Gaia. And she's named Gaia because she's blue and white, so she kind of looks like the Earth.
Like the Earth.
She was going to be named Atlas, and then we found out she was a she, and now she's Gaia. So.
I mean, either way. That's a good... mythological names are great for pets and children.
They really are. So anyway, that's how mythology influences your everyday life.
Right. That's why we have a planet called Uranus.
Yeah. It's not named after your butthole.
It really, really isn't. So yes.
Okay. So that's my segue and why it's important. Well, it's not the only reason it's important. It's important because these stories are, because they're canon, right?
Right.
So these stories are like the original stories that get told again and again, and and it's important to know them so you can get the fucking reference and feel smart when you get the reference.
That's true. And as we'll talk about later, there is so much of these mythologies that are in our popular culture too. Like,
absolutely,
we did not leave these behind. These are, name a comic book, and you're gonna find some mythology in it, and we'll talk about that later.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go ahead and give a shout out to a local business, shall we?
Yeah.
We're going to talk about the Pop Project, which you can find at thepopproject.org, which you can barely read because my Photoshop skills weren't that good when I made this.
I think it's mostly because you can't pick a good color to put on top of white.
That's true. It is difficult. And then there's also the other colors. So yeah, it's difficult. Either way, thepopproject.org. They are an organization here in Asheville, a nonprofit that collects books and distributes them to places that need books. They might be schools or prisons or whatever you got. They do free little libraries all around town, all around the area. But I wanted to point out because they may in fact have some books on mythology. So you can
they definitely have comic books, which, as you said, allude to mythology.
A lot of them do, yes.
Because I've given Jimmy some graphic novels before to put into the Pop Project thing. So there.
So I highly encourage you to check them out. Also, donate to them. I know that they're still doing some COVID era protections, so they don't have a lot of volunteer opportunities. But I know they're looking for help in various ways, so definitely check them out. So popproject.org.
Yeah.
Go visit them. All right, what else we got? All right, let's go. Okay, I have next on my list. And I have actual notes, like I have cheat sheets and stuff.
Yeah.
Because we talked about all kinds of cool stuff.
We did. Some shows we just kind of come into and we just yak, and then some shows we kind of pregame a little bit and pre-plan. Like earlier in the week, she'll say, "Hey, we're doing this. What do you think about this?" And sometimes I don't have a whole lot to say about it. And sometimes I'm like, "Oh, we need to make sure we cover this and this and this." And so I did that.
So yes, and what I did learn is while this show is about mythology in general, mostly meaning ancient, classic mythologies, I also realized that both of us, everything we listed was Greek. So
yeah, I guess because that's I think everybody's earliest. We were discussing this pre-show also. When I was a kid, I found my mom's copy of the Edith Wharton Greek myths that she had from high school or something.
Which are the ones everybody learned on.
Yeah, and so I read that thing because I was just terrible. Yeah, but I read it because I wanted for. I think I had probably already seen the original Clash of the Titans.
Yeah.
And so I had a mild interest in it because of that. And so then I read this whole thing, and then I was like, oh, okay, and I thought I had a kind of an understanding of it. But then
you have a general understanding. It's terribly written. Don't use that as your basis for actual Greek mythology. There are other sources, including let me share them with you. One I might suggest is the Homeric hymns. Homer, who also wrote the Odyssey and the Iliad. And then my other favorite is Hesiod's Theogony, which is basically the creation myth. So this is everything from the Greeks that you're going to find. So it's from start to finish, from the Titans all the way up to the Age of Man, is contained in this verse. So, I had these in a box. That had.
I was trying to figure out what I smelled. Yes.
It had incense in it.
Okay.
And it's been upstairs in my attic for 3 years because I didn't take these with me, and I went and got them. And they smell like incense, and they smell very nice.
Okay, I was like, what is that? All of a sudden, I got a whiff of something when you flip that.
Yeah, no, it's incense. It's probably myrrh or frankincense because those are what I like.
Okay.
So.
Yeah. Okay.
They're very delicious smelling books. All right, so we have on the list favorite gods. Hit me with your favorite gods.
My favorite, let's see.
Which can encompass, because you sent me one, which Prometheus is technically a Titan, but he's covered under the god umbrella.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. I did not know. Okay. Yeah, Prometheus, I didn't realize he was a god. I thought he was just...
Well, he was a Titan. He was a proto-god.
Right. They were the forebears of the gods, right?
Yeah, with the epic war between the Titans and the gods won. But the Titans were the OG gods.
I see. It's like the giants and the gods in the north. So there's always. It's interesting to me that in these creations that there was somebody before and then of course like the Judeo-Christian, they try to act like nothing happened before this, right? Like this was it.
Right.
But there probably was something before, because they also borrowed an awful lot, which makes me think, there was something before.
Well, that's probably a different show. So many things, including such things as the Epic of Gilgamesh, pretty much word for word, various stories from the Bible. But that's a different show. That's a religion show that we're not doing today.
Oh, well, but this is very Venn diagram-y. I mean, myth and religion, honestly,
Sure.
Okay. But, all right, so favorite gods. My favorite gods are mostly probably Egyptian or Norse, honestly, right?
All right.
They're, because I think that the most of the Greek gods kind of, I don't know, they seem to be very petty.
Sure. But the cool ones are cool, though.
The cool ones are cool.
Cool
it's
ones
true.
are super cool.
I mean, Apollo's all right, kind of.
Except for when he's rapey, but
they're all rapey.
That's
like name a male Greek god that's not rapey. Hephaestus, maybe.
Yeah, he was kind of. I mean, he had his moments.
Okay.
Dionysus, I think, actually, oddly enough, the god of like excess, was the only one that was interested in consent culture. I mean, it's true.
It's funny, yeah. Most of the rest of them are just like, and you don't like me, eh? Well, how about if I'm a swan? You like me now?
What if I'm a ray of sunshine?
How about now? Yeah. They find a way to get around consent, right?
Yeah, a good portion of Greek mythology is about how Zeus couldn't keep it in his pants.
Sure, yeah, and how that led to all the problems.
Literally everything that went wrong.
But anyway, sorry. So my favorites. I like Anubis.
Oh, it's
in the Greek.
Good choice.
I like Anubis and Seth and Bastet. Like those are all cool.
There's some Egyptian. Yeah, well, so you like anthropomorphic animal gods?
Sure, I do. Yeah, who don't?
Who don't? Nobody don't. Nobody don't like them. Nobody don't.
Right? I mean, horse is okay and all that. I don't know. Like, I don't like the bird head as much as I like the dog head and the cat head and the. Anyway, let's see. And on the north side, I probably I don't know, man.
I mean, obviously,
Balder, Thor, Loki.
Balder is a great.
Balder's a good. I don't like that Balder doesn't get no play in the damn Marvel
I was
universe.
just going to say that. Yeah, Balder is a great god, and they just totally they don't even. But so fun fact.
But D&D doesn't like to mention his gate.
Yes. Yes, very much so. Yes, Baldur's Gate for sure. Balder is super cool. Like, definitely, we're not going to go into the whole myth here today, but definitely read that shit because it's great. It involves Loki as well.
This one with mistletoe?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
It's
you should
a really
read
good
that.
myth.
Go look that up.
Go read that myth. But so, fun fact, a lot of people are really worried right now because Disney, bought the Marvel.
When you say a lot of people, you mean 6 busybodies on the internet.
Yes, 6 busybodies on the internet are very worried because Disney bought, the Marvel properties, of course, which include the Marvel versions of Thor and Odin and Loki. So people are worried that there's now a copyright on the greater Norse mythology, which is literally not true. You can't copyright actual Loki.
Oh, okay. You're saying about a different worry than the one I read. I read that there were some Christian folks who were very upset that the Disney properties were glorifying.
Oh, they don't like that either. Those are two separate issues.
It's funny because how do they reconcile that with their racist friends who are very pro-Viking and pro-Norse gods?
Fair.
Yeah. But at any rate,
that's only a handful of people. There's a lot of very, very kind, nice heathens in the world.
Sure, there are. And it actually annoys me that all the Viking shit has gotten co-opted by the Nazis.
Right.
But to be honest, it has, to the point where when I see somebody walking around with a Valknot tattoo on their arm, I assume they're a Nazi and not some sort of pagan,
Right.
I mean, they might be a pagan, but my first thought is they're a Nazi.
Yeah, it's fair. That is completely fair. So, all right. So, favorite gods. I But, we talked about Prometheus.
Yes.
And otherwise, my favorite god of all the gods is Persephone. And her story, we all know the story because she was kidnapped by Hades and taken to the underworld, and then her mother Demeter was really, really sad and created winter while she was mourning and hunting for her daughter. And so a deal was struck where Persephone came back to spend the summers with her mother and the winters with her husband, which I think is a super cool myth. First of all, it's like the perfect like Wheel of the Year myth, right? But also I like that Persephone, in various versions, she's either the helpless maiden who's just like, I don't know what's happening, I've been kidnapped, or she's the fucking queen of the underworld. She has more power than almost any other goddess. I love that shit. Love that.
I want to break away for just a second to talk about some overlap again about the intersection of myth and religion.
What kind of do we need to preface this?
Not with that, no.
All right.
Not yet.
Sorry. I'm waiting.
This is just a funny thing. I was in a English lit class in college, and we were reading a book called Oranges Are Not the Only Fruit, which is about a lesbian who grew up in a fundamentalist Christian household in England. But at the beginning of the book, my professor was like, hey, the fruit of the tree of knowledge was not an apple. Does anybody know what it was?
Yeah, I know what it was.
And I said, it was a pomegranate. And he was like, yes. And he didn't elaborate.
Right, that was just it. Number one, apples didn't grow in the Mediterranean.
They didn't grow at all, actually, because they didn't exist yet.
Correct.
They're a fairly modern propagation.
And the word we use for pomegranate, pom means apples.
Right.
So that's kind of how we developed that. Right, and the pomegranate, of course, in the myth of Persephone that is the fruit. She wasn't supposed to eat any fruit in the underworld, but she was given the pomegranate seeds and she ate them, and now she was tied to the underworld, so they had to strike this deal. But again, there are some versions where she was tricked into eating the pomegranate, and there's other versions she's like, fuck, give me that pomegranate because I want to be queen of hell.
Right.
Like,
but so similarity there. There's the intersection. The pomegranate was also the fruit of the tree of knowledge in the Judeo-Christian. I don't know why the fuck people decided it was an apple at some point. Like you said, I guess because palm
means in French. And
so apple was a generic word for fruit at some point in the distant past. Just the same as the word corn used to just mean grain.
Right.
And basically, so when settlers came to America and they were handed maize.
They're like, look, corn.
Oh, it's some sort of corn. And then they just, what do you want to specify what kind of corn? They're like, no, fuck it, it's just corn.
This is just regular corn. It's just straight up corn.
Yeah, it's not like barley corn, which must die.
Which is, there's some mythology for you. Bringing you the mythology right from the British Isles right there. Barley corn must die. That is indeed the truth.
So anyhow, I just wanted to mention that for a minute while we were on.
No, I think that is a good mention. And so I also discovered, I do have here, I want to talk about it.
Okay.
If you want a god, there's a god, right? That is Hestia. She's the goddess of the hearth and home. So every well-meaning ancient Greek family would have a Hestia in their house because she represents the hearth and home. So I have one. She's not the Virgin Mary. So
I did when I first came in, because it's funny how co-opted some of this, like, she does look very much like the Virgin Mary, and then she's got what looks like the Sacred Heart of Jesus in her hand.
Right, but it's just flames.
It's just flames.
She is literally the goddess of the hearth.
Just, it's interesting how all this stuff just sort of gets rehashed or recycled. And then, I wanted to, while we're on goddesses, who also, I do like Athena is a good, I
actually had a statue of Athena upstairs too, and I didn't bring it down.
You know where they've got a really nice statue of Athena?
In Nashville, Tennessee.
Over in Nashville, Tennessee, yeah. They got a nice looking building too.
Yeah, it's a scale replica of the Parthenon, and it is what because Parthenon obviously in Greece is. Wait, where's the Parthenon in Greece? Where is it? The Parthenon in Greece, obviously is in ruins, and the statue doesn't exist there anymore. I mean, not to the degree. But in Athens, or not in Athens, in Nashville, they built a scale replica, and they have the actual Athena, including because we always look at like ancient statues and stuff, and we're like, oh, they're white marble, blah blah blah. But most of the time they were painted, and they were painted bright colors. And
yeah, the one in Nashville's like in its heyday. This is if the Parthenon had been upkept.
Yes.
So I really do recommend, like, at some point, everybody take a trip to Nashville, Tennessee, and go to that. Like, that's worth seeing. Go see the damn Parthenon, which they built in the 1920s, and it's like, I don't know why. Like, it's the weirdest fucking thing. There's a lot of things like really abnormal anomalies in the South like this, where you'll go to a place sometimes and you'll find something that shows you that at one point in history, this particular southern town was very cultured.
Right.
And I guess there's culture in Nashville, Tennessee, but I don't speak country music. Like, at some point, classic Greco-Roman mythology meant something to them, and they built to the point where they raised money and built a damn Parthenon.
It has a perfect replica. Not even a replica of the current Parthenon, just like, here's what it looked like when it was awesome. So
it's pretty cool, and it's totally worth the look-see. And I recommend anybody who has even a mild interest in mythology, go take a peek at it.
For sure. We're actually going to Nashville. We've been to it before. We're going back to Nashville in a month or two.
Okay.
And might need to make a stop by there again.
You should.
It's super cool.
Pay your respects.
Yes, I do. Do love me some of that. Plus, you can buy some cool merch.
Small Athena statues, if you will.
If you will. And I will. But okay, so next on our list was favorite heroes, and you and I both listed. So heroes in Greek myth is pretty much anyone who's not a god. So that includes like some anti-heroes. So, and you had several anti-heroes.
Okay, yeah.
So let's see. I think you can actually count almost all of these. Cassandra, Sisyphus, Leda, and Prometheus.
Yeah, those are my favorites. So Prometheus, obviously, because he stole the fire for us.
Right. And he's a Titan, so he kind of
said he was a Titan, so he was a proto-god. But he stole the fire and gave it to humans.
Yes, and then was perpetually tormented. Punished by Zeus.
Yes.
So an eagle was eating his liver out.
Is it an eagle? So was it a vulture?
Big ass bird.
Some kind of bird.
Hold on, I can tell you 1 second. Eagle. Yep, eagle.
Oh, okay.
Either way, a big ass bird eating his liver out every day. So he stole fire from the gods on a fennel stalk and brought it to the people and said, here's fire. And then Zeus was like, no, you don't do that. And so he chained him to a rock and had an eagle eat his liver every day. So then the liver would grow back and the eagle would come back and eat it.
Yeah. But this guy must be able to drink like a fish because he's got that regenerate. Actually, the liver is actually one of the few organs in the body that will regenerate.
It's true.
If you have liver problems because you drank too much, you can probably, cut it out for a couple of years and then come back to it.
Try again.
If you want. Yeah. I'm not trying to discourage your sobriety if that's important to you, but if it's not important to you, I'm saying, give it a couple of years and come back to it.
The opinions expressed by Bill are not the parent company. All right. So we love us some Prometheus. Prometheus is one of my very favorites too. Mm-hmm. And of course, he's also tied up in the myth of Pandora, right? The first woman. Like, he's part of that process. Since some of this whole fire myth, it's all part of the same myth. It's really cool. You should.
It's all about how people got stuff.
Yeah. It's in Hesiod's Theogony, which you can read.
People got fire and they also got bad things.
Yeah.
I like how it always winds up being some woman's fault that the bad things happen, right?
The Greeks weren't the most woke culture.
Well, it's not just the Greeks. Everybody pulls that one.
Yeah, it's true. Mostly.
Maybe not. I don't know.
The Norse were reasonable. The Norse there was a
little more even-handed, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And the Romans were not. There wasn't equality, but the interesting part about Roman culture is that was the first time women could own property on their own. So, if a Greek husband died, the property and the wife would then go to his male next of kin.
Right, okay.
But if you're a Roman woman and your husband dies, you get all the shit.
Okay.
And that was the first time that ever happened in any ancient culture.
When widows became a thing.
Yes.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah. No, I was gonna say I don't know enough about maybe like African or Native American mythology. Maybe they had more woke, matriarchal type stuff going on.
Some, for sure.
But all the European,
all the white people
tended to be like, yeah, ladies, are the reason bad shit happens.
Yep. Well, okay, so speaking of ladies are the reason bad shit happens, Cassandra was on your list.
Sure, but she's not the reason the bad things happen. She just knew that the bad things were gonna happen.
Well, but the reason the bad things were happening to her was because she pissed off Apollo because she wouldn't sleep with him.
Yeah, well, that's on her, really, isn't it? I mean, she shouldn't have been out in the street looking like she was,
all in her little chiton, looking all sweet.
Yeah, like she had it coming, really. These are not. I don't.
The opinions that Bill is expressing are not.
These aren't even really the opinion. This is a put on. I don't believe that. No, I actually think she was done wrong, and I think that the Cassandra thing is very. The reason it's interesting to me is because she's like the prototype for the scientist in a sci-fi show who goes, hey, the bad thing's gonna happen, and then everybody dismisses them.
Right, exactly. Which is where we get like that pop culture trope.
Right, that was the invention of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, she's the original. Like, hey, if we do this thing, Godzilla's gonna kill everybody, and they're like, yeah, you're out of your mind.
Yeah. So she, that she did have all these premonitions, but nobody would believe her.
Nobody would listen.
That was her curse. And then you mentioned a couple. They're not heroes in the term of like actual heroes, but they were non-gods that had stories. You mentioned two famous residents of the underworld. Tartarus, which is the bad part of the underworld.
Okay.
Because by the way, Hades is a person or a god, not a place. So Hades is not the place. The underworld is the place. Hades is the king of the underworld. And there were several regions of the underworld, and Tartarus is where the bad people were.
Mm.
And you mentioned to me Sisyphus and Tantalus.
Yeah. So Sisyphus, and I don't know what he did either to get there. I don't remember.
He cheated death twice.
Oh, cheated death twice. We did talk about that for a moment. Yes. That seems very vague, but okay. I mean,
I'm sure there's more to the story, though.
Who among us hasn't cheated death twice when we were 15 years old?
We only have an hour, so
I'm saying, I bet I cheated death 6 or 7 times during my high school years.
Fair. That's fair.
And I hope that I don't have to suffer in this manner. But so Sisyphus, the funny thing about Sisyphus, this particular one is weird because he pushes this rock up the hill every day, and then the rock rolls back down the hill. At what point does he just go, fuck it?
Yeah, let's just leave the rock here.
Like, why do I care?
I'm just sitting here at the bottom of the hill for the rest of eternity. Like, that's fine.
I mean, does he push the rock up the hill because he's got nothing better to do? Like, I kind of feel like that might be the case.
I think that for this, but it's also compulsory. Like, he's been forced. What
happens? So, what happens if he doesn't do it?
I don't know. We don't know. We've never learned.
And neither does he. I'm telling you, there should be. This is. Oh, God. I should write a fucking novel. Except I don't have the wherewithal to do it. But I should write a novel called Sisyphus Takes a Day Off, or at least a short story. And
I think you could probably pull off a short story.
Or a short story. Sisyphus Takes a Day Off.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what the fuck happens if he decides, fuck it? You know what? For one day in eternity, I'm not going to do it. Let's see what happens.
Well, and to that end, your other was Tantalus, who, of course, he was punished in Tartarus for stealing ambrosia from the gods, which is not ambrosia salad. That's a different thing. Ambrosia salad is gross. Ambrosia is the food of the gods. So they didn't like that.
I think it depends on who you ask.
I guess that's true. That's fair.
The kind of people who put raisins in potato salad probably think ambrosia salad is delicious.
I do not like. I didn't grow up in the South, so ambrosia salad is a taste I have not.
And ambrosia salad depends on who you ask. It's probably 90 different things.
Yeah,
that's a vague word.
Yes.
In my family, it was actually a fruit salad. It had no gelatin at all in it. It was just a bunch of cut up fruit, and it was basically like wet trail mix, which I'm going to come back.
Oh, we'll come back around to that. But Yeah, no, and I know it's like the gelatin, but also marshmallows. Like, yeah, that's
Yeah, there was none of that shit in my grandmother's frozen gel, which I love, and I only ever had it on like Christmas or whatever. But I don't know if I'd call it the food of the gods. I mean, it's just a fucking fruit salad. It's like I'll be straight with you. It wasn't. Oh my god, I can't believe this shit. But at the same time, it is okay, and I like it. And I like having it once a year.
Hey, the cat just showed up. Hi,
Hello,
cat. Hi, bye. She's like, what is all happening?
She didn't even come out when I was talking about Bastet, which was pertinent to your interest.
That's fair. Now we're gonna worship her now because she's sitting just the other side of the camera where you can't see her. All right, so the last you mentioned Lita.
Or Leda, or is that which is proper?
I've always called it Lita. I've always said Lita. I know it's Leda, right?
I don't know where the emphasis is in that word.
Me neither.
Okay. Anyway.
I've always said Lita, but I don't know.
Anyhow, the thing I like about this myth is this is the intersection of myth and actual history, sort of, kind of. Because the story we're told is this lady was out and she was looking fine. And Zeus was like, hey, I want to get with that lady. And I don't know what the background is here. Maybe he'd already been dismissed as himself. So he decided.
Yeah. No, he rarely did. He usually started with the deception.
I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna play this angle. I'm gonna be a swan, and so he turns himself into a swan, and he jumps this lady and gets it on with her.
Yeah, well, but the excuse is that he was chased into her arms by a pursuing eagle, so it was clearly by accident.
Sure.
Oops. I did not mean to put my penis there.
Yeah, but that happened. There's a thing that happened. And now she's pregnant, and she gives birth to what we're supposed to understand is the most beautiful woman who ever lived.
Yes, she actually gave birth to multiple people in this situation. She didn't give birth; they were eggs. They all hatched.
Oh, she had eggs.
Yeah, she had eggs.
Oh, wow, weird.
So half mortal, half divine. So Castor and Pollux were both mortal, but then there was. Helen of Troy, of course, and then there was Clytemnestra. Clytemnestra. Greek names are hard to read.
Yeah, they are.
But yes, Helen of Troy, who of course is the face that launched 1,000 ships. Toast get off the television.
Yeah.
Or not.
Yeah. She was so beautiful, and then she was the queen of
Troy.
Well, no, Troy. Wait,
she was Helen of Troy.
Helen of Troy. And then, so she was of Troy, and then who kidnapped her?
Well, so yes, the Greeks kidnapped her.
The Greeks came over to Troy and kidnapped her.
Yes.
Okay, and that caused the Trojan War to happen.
Correct.
And so, while some of this is obviously embellished for TV, there was an actual Trojan War, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, as far as we know, yes.
We're told.
We understand. There may or may not have been like a horse.
That might not have happened.
Yeah.
That sounds like one of the embellishments they did to make it juicy for the miniseries.
Let's imagine this story, right? Troy was like, we're not letting anyone in. This is never happening. The Greeks will never breach our walls. This will not happen. Knock, knock. Candygram. We have a horse. They're like, yay, let's bring the horse inside.
Fucking giant horse.
I love horses. They bring in the horse. Yeah, like that's where
that sounds feasible.
Yeah, that's where it's mythology.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Like I said, it's a fictional. These based on a true story. It says at the beginning,
Right. So it's interesting to me that Leda is one of your favorite heroes, non-gods of mythology, whereas one of mine is Odysseus, who, of course, Odysseus was a Greek he was in the Iliad.
Right.
The oven is heated. He was in the Iliad, and he was a Greek general or whatever. But what's most interesting is his post-Greek or Trojan War, post-Iliad story, is that it was the Odyssey.
Right.
So first of all, his name is Odysseus. It's called an Odyssey.
Yeah, he was almost destined to go on an Odyssey.
Correct. Right. An Odyssey, it basically means a long, arduous journey where everyone dies but the hero. And so everybody...
unless you mean a space odyssey, in which case it's up in the air whether the hero dies.
But what
Literally
I
a
love
game.
about Odysseus' story is, first of all, it's an amazing, like, it's the first adventure novel. It's an adventure poem. And it's all like all these stops along the way and all these horrible things that have happened and how he gets out of them. But at the end, he returns home and he discovers that his wife, Penelope, who has remained true to him, like but she has all these suitors, because he's been gone for like a bajillion years.
Yeah.
All these suitors are in his house trying to win Penelope over.
Right, because as you said earlier, in Greek culture,
yeah, she couldn't own.
She couldn't own the property, so
Right.
they marry her, and then they become the king of Greece, or
whatever part of
city
Greece
it was.
Yeah, there was a city, but I don't remember what it was.
Wherever he's from. Anyway.
I've had too many years to remember where he's from. But, so my favorite part of the story is not even the actual Odyssey. It's when he returns home and he fights off all the suitors. Bam, bam. He wins an archery contest and he kills all the suitors. And he, then he's the hero in his own country, returning to his wife and his son. And it's just good stuff. And also specifically good stuff, which we're going to get into retelling. And we have very limited time because we keep talking about stuff. But if you're talking about a retelling, the literal best retelling of that part of the Odyssey was Wishbone. You remember Wishbone?
Yeah. That dog should have won a damn Oscar. He pulled off more roles.
That
oh my gosh.
is the dog in question, the Jack Russell Terrier that told stories from good literature. The dog's actual name was Soccer. And it was one of the best shows of the 90s. But his version of the Odyssey, which it just tells that part of the story, is his. I say his, like somehow Wishbone is.
Yeah.
But
he was the executive producer.
It's a brilliant, it tells the story. It's very accurate. It's it's right out of the Odyssey. It's not even.
You know what? To that end, I always thought the Disney version of Christmas Carol was one of the truer to the story tellings.
Sure. Yes, that's fair. That's fair.
So sometimes that happens. You get this like weird version of a thing that some people would dismiss, but turns out it's like more highbrow than you think. So hey, I talk about another retelling of the Odyssey, and it's a little story.
I have this written down. I think is where you're going with this.
Is it called Star Trek Voyager?
Oh no, that is not the one I thought you were going with. But yes, it is also the Odyssey. So pretty much any story where someone's like, oops, I ended up somewhere I didn't mean to be.
But I'm going to make 100 side quests before I go home. That's,
That is, the one I thought you were going to mention as a retelling was Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
Oh yeah, that one too. I forgot all about that.
So it's a Coen Brothers movie. If you have not already seen it, see it. But specifically, my favorite part about it is, the Coen Brothers never read the Odyssey. They just watched the Charlton Heston version.
Sure.
And
they thought they had an understanding of it.
Yeah, and then wrote the movie out of it. So it's
like a derivative of a derivative.
Yeah.
It's like listening to a band that grew up on Led Zeppelin and their understanding of the blues.
Yes, precisely. And I do want to mention I have too many to mention because I love mythology. It's one of my favorite things.
She could go on and on.
I really could. But the one that I want to mention that also ties into retellings is Orpheus. So Orpheus was a king, and he fell in love with a nymph named Eurydice, and he married her, and they lived happily ever after until she died. And she went into the underworld, like you do when you die. And he was so distraught and so sad that he's like, I need to go get my wife back because this is bullshit, right? It's complete bullshit. So I'm going to go get my wife back. So he goes into the underworld and appeals to Hades and Persephone and says, I want my wife back. And they're like, fuck you can't have your wife back.
That's not how it works.
That's not how it works. So, but they make a deal, right? And they say to him, if you can escort her out of the underworld without looking back at her at any point, you can have her back. So until they reach top level, he can't look at her the whole time. He has to just trust that she's following him.
Okay.
So she does that. He does this. She does this. Eurydice wants to go home too. She's like, it sucks to be dead. So she follows him out, and he has to trust. They get almost to the door of the underworld, almost out, and he just can't stand it. And he looks back, and then she goes back.
Poof, that's that.
Yeah, that's that.
And what's the retelling?
The retelling that I absolutely love, and I'm super excited about this because we have booked tickets to New York City to see this, a Broadway musical called Hadestown.
Hmm.
It is super good. The original album, a concept album by Anais Mitchell, came out in 2010, and I was obsessed with it at the time. And then randomly, I was watching the Tony Awards a couple years ago, and the Tony Award went to Hadestown. I was like, what the fuck? I love this concept album. I did not know it was a musical.
Nah.
So it's a musical, and we're going to go see it.
Cool.
And I'm very excited.
I don't know that it's entirely the retelling, but that sounds an awful lot also like that Robin Williams movie.
Oh, the What Dreams May Come?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of that.
Yeah, I don't know if it was intentional, but yeah, I can totally see that.
Because he does go to like, I don't know if it's Hades, which is the afterworld or whatever. And he goes,
I also really hate that movie. But
I've
never
seen it, and because I got to a point where I was dismissive towards Robin Williams movies towards, like, about the mid-90s. I got tired of him.
A lot of people like that movie. They do. I just did not like it. I saw it
I've
in
heard
theater,
a lot
and
of people
I did not
say
like
stuff
it.
about it,
Yeah.
and I thought maybe based on the plot synopsis I've heard of it sounds very similar to that.
So, and I was going to mention Theseus, which Theseus and the Minotaur, right?
Oh,
Which is a very popular story. But specifically the retelling of that one. So Theseus, Minotaur, blah, blah, blah. But where we get that in current culture is the Hunger Games, is basically a retelling.
Oh.
So in ancient Greece, the Athens was required to send 7 youths to Minos because the Minotaur, so they needed to feed the Minotaur.
Why?
I don't know.
If
That's
you
just
didn't
how
feed
it
it,
was.
wouldn't you just die?
Well, yes, but that's what they did, and so that's just how they did it.
This is my problem with all this shit.
I agree.
Is I always want to be like, what happens if we don't?
Right. But they didn't. They did not test that until Theseus, and Theseus went and he defeated the Minotaur. But my favorite part about that story is he only defeated the Minotaur because he had the help of the Minotaur's human sister, because the Minotaur was half bull, half man. His human sister, Ariadne, who gave him because the Minotaur was in a labyrinth, right? She gave Theseus a thread so he could find his way back out.
Sure.
So he could unwind it. So to repay her, he takes her with him when he escapes, because he was the only one that ever escaped, didn't get eaten by the Minotaur. He married her and took her with him, but then he spent one night with her and then abandoned her on an island, was like, fuck you, Ariadne, bye. And he went and lived the rest of his life. Joke's on you, Theseus. Then Dionysus the god came, married Ariadne, and now she's a goddess. So, fuck you.
Did she do something then vengeful to him?
No, she just lived a nice, happy life with Dionysus.
You know what? That's the best revenge,
yes,
honestly.
it is.
Good living is the best revenge, people. That's the moral of that story.
I fully believe that. That is actually one of my life.
Like, fuck him. He probably, nothing good. Like that. That was his heyday. Like, he peaked. Basically, killing the Minotaur was like his glory days, and after that, everything was always a letdown.
I almost forgot, and I do want to mention it real quick because we were talking about retellings.
Oh, yeah.
If you like retellings, read the Penelopiad by Margaret Atwood because it's really good.
Sure.
And it's a story of the Odyssey, but through the point of view of Penelope as she's waiting at home. And it's Margaret Atwood who wrote The Handmaid's Tale, and she's an amazing author. I read that book in a weekend, like a day. The first time I read it, it's really, really good. So check that out. All right, we are actually running out of time because we could literally
we could
talk
go
about
on and
this.
on.
We could. We often do. That is kind of the point of the show.
It
right?
really is.
It really is.
We get drunk and wound up. And that's.
So yeah, I didn't even get to my last beer.
Oh, look at you.
Yeah, I still have a whole beer. Maybe I'll save it to the next show. Maybe I won't even drink it tonight.
Huh. Bold words.
Crazy. All right, so we don't have a mailbag, but also send in your questions and also send in ideas for future shows. We're working on our calendar.
Yeah, we still got a couple open slots for the fall. So if you got an idea that you want us to address, if you're like, hey, I wonder what Bill thinks about this dumb thing, go ahead and shoot it to me, and you'll find out eventually.
You'll find out. But I know you do have things that are extra.
I do. Yeah, I bought a couple weeks ago. We were at Target, and I bought myself a big old jar of some trail mix, and I bought it because I thought it was it looked good. It had like papaya and coconut and banana chips and nuts and raisins and things in it. And I was like, oh, that's exactly what I like in a trail mix. And I got it to work.
The cat was doing bad things.
Yeah. I got it to where I started eating it, and the first handful I get in my mouth, and I'm like, ugh, what is this? And I look, and there's little chocolate chips in there. And so my things that are extra is I got beef with trail mix that's got candy in it. I don't want chocolate chips or M&Ms or any of that shit in my trail mix. I just want fruit and nuts. That's all I want, people. This isn't too much to ask. I'll tell you something, honest to God, this happens a lot. What I usually do for trail mix is I actually go to the dollar store and I buy myself a bag of craisins, and I buy myself a box of raisins, and I buy myself a box of peanuts, and I buy myself a bag of dried banana chips and stuff like that. And I go home and I put them all in a big giant Ziploc bag, and I make my own, because then I know it's got the things I like in it and it doesn't have the things I don't like in it. But this was one time where I was lazy and I was like, fuck it, I'll just buy this already made trail mix. And look, it bit me in the ass, and that's what I get, right?
God damn it. Also, I don't like trail mix unless it has chocolate in it. So we disagree.
No, it's my opinion. It's Bill has opinions, and this is my opinion about it.
Bill has opinions.
I like a particular kind of trail mix.
That's fair.
And that's what I got to say about that.
That is fair. All right, we are coming at. Wait, I just want to play this again just because I made it just for the show.
It's just for the show, yeah.
So I wanted to play it one more time. That is it. That'll be the last time you probably ever see them again.
Until we do the show about REM.
Oh yeah. See? We'll do a 90s rock show. And we'll bust that out again. Yeah. All right. So we are done with the show. Bill, will you take us away?
Yes. Bill Has Opinion is engineered and produced by Laura Lavoie. The opinions of Bill are those of his and his alone, unless Laura shakes her head in agreement. And if he was making a joke, then they're not even his opinion. He was just fucking around. I don't believe in that rapey shit. I was just making a joke there.
That's thank you for the disclaimer.
All right, just making it clear. I don't want anybody to think that. What else? Oh, the opinions Laura has are hers, unless Bill agreed with them, and then
chocolate and trail mix.
Yeah, I don't agree with that at all. That's her opinion alone. Or her and whoever agrees with her, I guess. I don't know. But anyway,
tell us in the comments.
So yeah, if you like chocolate in your trail mix, then you're a disgusting human being. But you're welcome to that opinion.
I don't know why I wasn't expecting that, but I really wasn't.
Anyway, be sure. What was I going to say?
Like and subscribe,
and follow us, and leave comments below, and give us a question and hashtag opinion gang if you want to talk about what kind of trail mix you like or don't like. If you hate trail mix altogether, be sure to hashtag opinion gang and tell us about it. And also I wanted to say that, my opinions and her opinions both don't have anything to do with the Pop Project, who we support, but, they believe whatever they believe, like giving books to people. Yes. Actually, we can all get behind that.
Yeah. Nobody disagrees with that.
Yeah, hopefully.
If you do,
then you're also a garbage person who probably likes chocolate trail mix. Exactly. Anyway, that's our show for today. Be sure to tune in next week.
Actually,
not next week.
Not next week. It's holiday observed because
right.
It's the 5th of July.
It's the 5th of July.
So we will probably not do a show next week unless we get a wild hair and do a show next week. But as of right now, no show next week. So tune in 2 weeks.
2 weeks. There you go. All right. See you then.
Bye, everybody. Wait.
What?
What?